and again, this might be a controversial opinion in this, but I feel like some ways the media, the public, the fans were almost like forcing him to A, come out with his sexuality, and B, like be gay or be straight. Like, like maybe the guy's like, I'm just a feminine guy.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw Podcast. I'm Dax Holt. Over there's Adam Glyn. I'm bringing the energy because it's Friday. You know we love to get to our Raw Rundown. It is our favorite time of the week where we get to go over all the biggest stories going on in Hollywood. There's so much to talk about this week. Every day, new information, new stories coming forward. Adam Glyn, how are you?
I'm well. Day after Halloween. Are you a horror movie guy?
I used to be way more. I'm not as much as I used to be.
I get it. I like to watch at least one. I'm not a horror movie guy, but I will watch like one movie around this time of year. It's just the horror movies have gotten harder to watch. They're just too weird now. They're not like the old school Halloweens. Like I love just one monster. Now it's like some psychological thriller that gets really weird, and I'm like, I don't have that much energy to focus. Like, just make everyone run away from a zombie. I don't know, just kind of keep it basic. But yeah, so Dax, one thing I was just reading, I just saw a list that Forbes did. They listed the highest paid influencers of 2024. Okay. Alex Cooper earned $22 million. She's got 5.7 million followers, which I get why that makes sense, because she does have the podcast. Charli D'Amelio, which is surprising to me, they said she earned $23.5 million this past year, which to me, that's surprising. Yes, she does have a lot of followers on Instagram. She has 213 million, but I just don't understand.
But isn't her big thing TikTok, though? I thought she was the TikTok girl.
I guess total as far as combined with everything with TikTok, Instagram, and all, but I still find it kind of hard to believe that. I mean, she's on Broadway right now, which is nothing, a knock to Broadway, but I mean, why would you go on Broadway if you're making $23.5 million? However, I mean, it is cool to say you did Broadway show. Mm-hmm. So I was just surprised by her because I feel like the D'Amelio fame in some ways dropped off a little bit. I don't know if you agree. And that's not a knock against her. I think she's good at what she does. I think she's a good dancer. I think they're kind of like charming as people, but I was surprised to see that number.
I guess I would not have expected the number to be that high. And I guess I don't really follow her on TikTok, so I'm not sure. Is she doing a lot of product placement? Is she doing stuff that would pay her a lot of money? Because Broadway's not paying that kind of money. And so it has to be endorsement deals that she is pushing out on her platforms is my only guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to think that, because to be honest, if you're a brand, you could pay to get, like, you could say you have 213 million views, but it might be cheaper for you to pay for those views, do a paid post, and you could target a specific audience. Granted, maybe you want Charli to post, but like I saw something, Matt Rife, the comedian, earned $50 million this past year, but I actually believe that one a little bit because Matt was touring a lot. So if you're touring a lot, Matt was probably doing, my guess, he was doing a show, he'd probably make around 400 to 700 grand a show with the size shows he was doing. So if you do enough of them, I could see Matt Rife making that type of money. He came out of the book. They had Mr. Beast at 85 million. So I was just surprised to see how much these people make, but I think it's also weird.
That article normally would say what she's making money on. What did it say she's making money on?
I didn't read the whole article because I'm not that bright. Listen, I cut right to the choke. I cut right to tell me how much you're making. But I never believe any of these things.
You're such an idiot. Why didn't you read the rest of the story?
Because honestly, I had to do the list for the podcast. So I was I had a lot going on this morning. But Dax, I find it hard to believe that they know exactly how much these people have made. I know it's like a rough estimate, but it's so off.
Have you ever Googled yourself and seen what your net worth is according to online?
I've never done it because I would be really disappointed.
So silly.
Yeah.
All right. So Dax Holt net worth. Let's see what mine says today. It's always wild. Hold on. Let me find it.
Mine's so bad it doesn't even come up.
What is Dax Holt's net worth? Every time I do it, it's so silly and so ridiculous. The other time here we go. The other time it gave me $20 million. The next time I did it was $200 million. I don't see did they get rid of that website? The like celebrity net worth website?
They might have, but when I Google myself, all I find is some Instagram that robbed my video of a video I shot, and there's nothing you could do, which pisses me off more. You know what happens, Dax, with my videos? And it's so screwed up because you really can't do much about it. But other accounts steal your video.
Yeah.
They legit take your video and then they credit you for, I credited you. I'm like, I don't care. You just got 300,000 views on my video and haven't monetized. And you give me credit. You think that does anything to me? It doesn't move the needle at all. All right. This is just my rant. What are we doing? So obviously if you just tuned in, this is our Raw Rundown, which will give you the top 10 stories of the week. How do we give you the top 10 stories? It goes by Google search. It goes by data. And lastly, it goes by personal opinions. But like I always say, it ultimately comes down to the data. Like any newsroom, they look at they're looking at the screen to see what people are clicking on, and these stories are what people are clicking on this week. So on Wednesdays, Dax and I sometimes talk to a guest, sometimes we talk to each other, and on Fridays we drop our top 10 stories of the week, so you know everything that's going on in the world of entertainment news. Before we get to that, reviews, we love them so much. We love them so much that we read them live on air. Dax, do you have a review ready for us?
Yep, I got one. This is from Leaky Lou, or maybe Looky Lou. I don't know how you pronounce that. Lekki. Leaky Lou. It says 10 out of 10, 5 stars. Adam and Dax are my bedtime podcast. I fall asleep to their voices. I don't know what that says about me, but seriously, the self-deprecation, Adam bragging about knowing literally everyone, humor, straightforwardness, and the seasons of journalism to inform and validate the info. Chef's kiss. Sharing your lifetime of work and knowledge is the biggest treat and strongest bedtime mocktail. I hope you guys know how cool it is to have created something that's a part of complete strangers' routines. Your banter resonates. Keep rockin', boys. Is it good that we put people to sleep?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm a little nervous about that we could. And then I don't know if they're pissed that I know everyone. I hope. I mean.
No, clearly that was a huge fan endorsement.
No, I
just think it's so funny. Like, I go to bed because you guys are so boring. You put me straight to sleep. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, thank you for taking the time, Leaky Lou, to leave us a review. Very, very much appreciate it.
Very much appreciate it. You know, it's so funny, Dax. So I would say at least once a month, I have a publicist. Do you hear my baby?
What's going on?
Do you hear the kid crying in the background?
I heard one sound, but I don't hear anything right now.
Okay. Let me see.
Tell your fucking kids to put their shit together.
You made me push back the podcast so I could push it towards nap time, and now this is what's going on.
All right, hold on.
Sorry about that.
Cut out dead.
My goal is winter is to build something in my basement somehow that'll be official.
Like a chamber for the kids, honestly, a soundproof child chamber that they can't get out of.
My basement looks like the basement from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. However, I just don't need a corner that I could put a light and put a curtain behind so it looks a little official. It's disgusting. It's terrible, dude. Okay. You know what happened? So Dex, you know what I do? I probably about once a month this happens, and I'm not mad at it because it's an extra few bucks. I have a publicist pay me to shoot their client, and the client's a nobody, but they're trying to make him famous, so they want to make him feel good. And it's screw, if you're gonna pay me, I'll interview 100%. Anyone. Yeah. So I did that the other night, and I went to the restaurant. And
assuming you're not gonna tell us who you shot?
No. No, dude, because you don't even know them. I promise you, I don't. But I had I go to the restaurant. It was me and a photographer, and I didn't feel like waiting for the guy to I wasn't gonna wait for him to leave the dinner. And I was like, screw it, the Yankees are playing. I just like walked into the restaurant. As I walk into the restaurant, who is like, I'm looking for the guy because I knew what he looked like. I never met him before. And I walk into the restaurant and Carmelo Anthony is there. You know Carmelo Anthony, the basketball player,
of course.
Lala. And Carmelo sees me and I was wearing a yellow hoodie. So I stand out. I walk in, I'm wearing a Yankee hat and a yellow hoodie. And I kind of walked in aggressive, like, fuck it, I'm not waiting for this guy. You're going to come out now if you want me to shoot you. You know, like my time is money. I walked in, Carmelo sees me. He's like, yo, what up, my guy? And I'm like, yo, Mello, what's up? I like pound him. I'm like, good to see you, bro. It was so smooth and cool, Dex. I looked so cool. Like I didn't overstay my welcome. It was just like, yo, what up, my dude? How are you, bro? And then I went to the next table because they were looking at me. Like, who's this guy who just went up to Carmelo Anthony and said hi? And then I saw the guy and I was like, hey, man, can I shoot you outside? My name's Adam, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. So, I mean, I was able to like bang it all out within like 15 minutes. But yeah, it was kind of cool. Like Carmelo to shot me out at a restaurant. And it actually happened. I told you that happened last week too. I was at a restaurant and I saw a former football player who like the maitre d', the hostess was kind of being a little bit not dick, but like they weren't the warmest to me. But as soon as like the celebrity said hi to me, then they're like, oh, okay. So it's just kind of, I don't know. Would you feel, does it kind of,
I love it, dude. No, I love like when someone recognizes me or like says hi to me and I'm like that, especially if it's in front of other people, I'm like, fuck yeah, like I feel cool right now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like every time it happens, I'm never in front of anyone that would look cool in front of. But like it would be really cool if I did in front of like my parents or something like that. Like, oh my God, how do you know this person? Like that's, or one of my buddies who I grew up with.
One of the coolest moments of my life was when John Mayer came over to my table and sat down to have drinks because he recognized us. I was like, this is the coolest shit ever. Like John Mayer recognizes me? No way.
Yeah. No.
And then sat and had sakis. It was freaking
That's
awesome.
So sick. That is John Mayer, dude. And then all of a sudden a guitar comes from the ceiling. Like, oh my God, where'd this come from? And then he starts playing for you. That'd be so awesome. Oh my God. All right, let's get to the top 10 stories of the week, starting with number 10.
Number 10 is Caitlyn Jenner turned 75 and a bunch of her family members all showed up together to the same spot, which is kind of rare to see Brody Jenner and Kim Kardashian partying together, but that did happen. So Caitlyn had posted some photos on her Instagram account, and in one photo you see Brody, you see Kim, you see a bunch of the family members all there to celebrate Caitlyn turning 75, and there's actually a bunch of other kids that were not there, or at least were not photographed. So you don't see a bunch of you don't see Chloe, you don't see Courtney, you don't see the other Jenner girls. So kind of interesting. I'm wondering who all showed up or what the relationship is right now, because I started to think that Caitlyn was good with a lot of her children, but if they're not showing up for the 75th, I feel like that does say a lot. Do you know, Adam, am I forgetting that there was some more fallout from that? Like, why is Kim the only one there?
I don't know if there's any fallback. I will say this just from a personal opinion. It was just nice to see Brody with Caitlyn. I know they've had a little bit animosity of a relationship, a little bit of a difficult relationship, because it is sort of a unique relationship where so much has gone on, and it's a lot to handle emotionally. I mean, this is someone's father, and just there's a lot of transition, not just sex. It's just not just his sex, just life and everything going on. So it's a lot for a guy like Brody to handle, but it's just nice to see them together. It's nice to see Kim embrace Caitlyn, because at the end of the day, Caitlyn was a big part of Kim's life. And it's just, I don't know. I saw the story. I saw it doing really well. And I think people are very, people clicked on the story because they wanted to see them together. And I thought it was just nice to see like there's still a relationship there, because Caitlyn was, again, like I said, Caitlyn was a big part of
their childhood, everything. They're like,
why weren't the other ones there? I don't know. I mean, maybe it was just travel or everything like that. And it was nice for Kim to make an attempt. And honestly, it's nice to see just like Kim and Brody together. You know, like who knows how often they're able to see each other. In fact, it was funny. I saw an interview with, it was on Watch What Happens with Sarah Foster, Sarah Nairn Foster. You know, she used to be stepsisters with Gigi Hadid. You know, Yolanda Hadid was married to her father, David Foster. And the question was, how often does she talk to Gigi? And she said she still keeps in touch with Gigi. I think they talk like maybe like once a month, or, you know, kind of, and it's a unique, and it's a very, tough situation, I would have to imagine. A very difficult, like kind of weird uncomfortableness, but it's nice to embrace it in a way. I don't know. I just think it was
you
just
grow
nice
up
to see
with
them all
someone
together.
that relationship doesn't die just because your parents are no longer together or whatever the situation is. But yeah, interesting.
Caitlyn's 75, huh?
75.
I wonder if Caitlyn, I know Caitlyn plays golf, but I wonder what kind of athlete Caitlyn still is. I've seen Caitlyn play golf. She's a good golfer, but I wonder if like you made her run, if she could run fast still.
That's a really funny question. I wonder if she could.
I would love to see Caitlyn run like a 400 meter, and let me just see you run as fast as possible. I just want to see what you look like running.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny? Like you don't run when you get older.
Race Brody or something, because you got to remember, Bruce Jenner was one of the fastest people out there, and so I don't think that goes away over time. I mean, you get older, but I feel like Caitlyn would still be pretty fast. I don't know. Who knows?
But overall, I think it was just a nice photo to see Kim, Brody, and Caitlyn all together. Now, does Caitlyn and Chris still have a relationship? I mean, I'm sure it's cordial enough because they do have children together. But it's, I just nice.
All right, we spend way too much time on this. Let's go.
Kim Kardashian rules. Dax number 9.
Kanye West, Kim Kardashian's ex-husband, just because we were just talking about Kim. So Kanye West apparently bought a $35 million mega mansion in Beverly Hills. And this is all after, he had that weird failed Malibu bomb shelter house that he spent a ton of money on and then lost a ton of money. I want to say with that bomb shelter one, he dropped like $57 million on it, gutted the entire thing, took out all the windows, all the electricity, all the point, like just gutted it, and then ended up having to sell it because it turned into this disaster for him, but sold it for 21 maybe $million. So lost just a ton of cash on that one, but then ends up buying a new one, apparently. And this is a $35 million Beverly Hills home. And it's basically a 20,000 square foot property. It's in a gated Beverly Park North neighborhood. And then it's got 11 bedrooms, 18 bathrooms, sits on 7 acres of land, and features a resort style pool with a waterfall, a second lap pool, a pool house, a tennis court, and an entertainment pavilion. So it's honestly absolutely gorgeous. Have you seen the photos of it?
I did. The house is insane. He bought the mansion under an LLC in an off-market deal. Dax, we're not lawyers. We're not real estate people. However, do you know why it's smarter to buy a house through your LLC? Or do you know any of that? I
think, a lot of people keep this stuff in trust and anything just because they like to keep all those assets away from the person personally. Because if Kanye West goes and runs over a photographer and then gets sued, it's in a corporation or an LLC. It's not under him, so they can't go after the houses, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm sure there's tax write-offs and other things that we're too poor to know about.
Dax, if Kanye West was moving in the house next door to you, would you be pissed? Would you be excited? How would you feel?
Oof, that's a tough one because I know that Kanye has a lot of talent when it comes to home remodel, redesign. This Malibu one is kind of almost a fluke, I feel like, because he was going through a really weird phase. And so he was doing that super minimalistic. So I'm sure when he moved in, people were probably like, sweet, Kanye is going to redo this house, make it amazing, and could potentially flip it for a ton of money and increase the value of the neighborhood. But he did the opposite. I got to imagine he lost enough money on that one. He's not going to make that same mistake. I think it'd be fine to have him next door. Honestly, he's not one of those people that is having parties all the time. I don't think he's, doing Diddy style parties. He may be a unique kind of strange dude, but he's got good style. He's in regards to home design and fashion and stuff. So I think he could raise the value of that property for sure.
See, that's what I was curious about because of his past. I'm not saying he's a party guy. He's not throwing, as far as we know, Diddy-esque parties. He's said some controversial remarks in the past. I didn't know if him moving to a neighborhood or an area would actually lower the value of houses, because some people, let's say in that area, they're not all celebrities in that area. There's people who are just wealthy people and just want to live a normal life and have a nice home, but they don't want to live near that stuff. They don't want to be a part of those things. So I didn't know if like him moving to an area can actually lower the value of a home. But at the end of the day, it's real estate, it's land, it's so there's value to the land. So I don't know how much the house could really lose value. I'm sure there's someone who would not mind living next to Kanye
just
West.
Don't gut it again, Kanye, and your house value will stay the same.
Exactly. Dax, number 8.
All right, so Bobby Flay apparently slid into Kristin Cavallari's DMs, and she rejected him before she realized it was just a platonic friendship message, which I think is hilarious. So he showed up on her podcast, Let's Be Honest, and they started talking about how they've had a friendship for a while, but they got into the conversation about how one time he slid into her DMs and literally was just like, hey, I'm going to be in town. Do you want to grab dinner? And for her, she was like, oh, shit. I think she responded something to the fact of like, I'm dating someone now. Here's the exact message. I'm going to be in Nashville for one night. Can I take you to dinner? And she responded with like, oh, no, I'm already dating someone. And he laughed and he was like, no, I'm not asking you out on a date. I'm going to be in town. And they joked about the whole thing. I do feel like his delivery, can I take you to dinner, very much sounds like a date message, right?
I totally agree. I think he was throwing something out there to see how she would play into it. Kristin Cavallari is beautiful. I think if you wanted to word it as platonic, as a friendly thing, you could have worded it much differently. But when you say it like that, I think Bobby. I don't think Kristin was at fault for this. The way he phrased it, it could be like, but yeah, I think Bobby Flay was throwing something out there to see if there was some possibility, and she responded in an accurate way. And Bobby Flay, his message was sort of like,
they ended up going and grabbing dinner after they kind of like laughed off the situation. He was like, no, I'm not trying to date you. We're friends. Let's like hang out. So they ended up going, getting dinner. They had a phenomenal dinner. But now they can laugh about it looking back. And that is one thing, like dipping into someone's DM or even text message. I feel like context can be thrown off so easily just because they don't hear the way that you say it or the inflection in your voice. Instantly, it can be misconstrued.
Bobby's showing his age with the misconception of the DM, but I do think he was throwing a little bit of a feeler out there. With that said, I think Kristin Cavallari has a great publicist, because who's listening to this podcast like, oh my God, this is a great quote. And what happens is Kristin's publicist took that quote, took that context, and sent that in the video clip to all the media outlets, and people are clicking on it. So yeah,
dude, her podcast is getting a lot of press.
I think a lot of press.
Whoever is doing the press, good job. You're crushing it, because every day there's a new story on her podcast. So
it's crazy how much her podcast is getting. But listen, she's got to pay her bills. It's a great way to. I'm actually trying to look up who her publicist is and see, like, based on like how connected. Because dude, this is like the politics of Hollywood, that like you could really kind of do a lot of damage and do some good depending on who your clients are. If you have a really good arsenal of clients, like, you have a lot of power, and you'll cater to different people. I mean, listen, you want to know who her reps are? Kristin Cavallari's rep, based on what I'm seeing, also reps people like Lala Kent, represents Amber Rose, represents. I mean, these are Saweetie. These are all Countess Wink, Nikki Hilton. So her publicist represents a lot of good people that are in the news repeatedly. So good job to her publicist. All right, Dax, number 7.
Number 7. All right. So we had told you earlier this week that Liam Payne, he was working on some new music right before he passed away, and that the co-producer on this music was about to release the song. Well, it sounds like they are now delaying this this single because, I think the producer, Sam Pounds, he maybe had a come to Jesus moment, because we even mentioned it. Like, this seems really soon to be releasing a new single. It almost feels like you're capitalizing on his passing to just be throwing music out there because this is the moment that everyone's going to listen to it. Well, Sam Pounds has announced on social media on Tuesday that the new single Do No Wrong would not be released on Thursday as it was previously announced. And basically went on to say that I'm going to leave all those liberties up to all the family members. I want all the proceeds to go to charity of their choosing or however they desire, even though we all love the song and it's not the time yet. We're all still mourning the passing of Liam. Yeah, I think that's a good decision because it seemed so weird that they were going to just release this. Like, the guy hasn't even been buried yet, and you're already trying to put out new music. So I'm assuming he got a lot of hate. I'm assuming that the family probably should have said, what the hell are you doing? I get that you got a new song. You got a song that you want to get out. You probably wanted to make a bunch of money on it. This is not the moment. Let us figure out, number one, how he died, all the details behind his death. Then we can maybe talk about music in a year from now. But right now is not the moment. So I think there was a big realization of wrong time, bro.
It's just, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Smart move. You have to wait, let people heal a little bit. It's still shocking to some people. We're still trying to find the details of exactly what happened, and for you to try to, let's be real, monetize the situation just a little bit, even if you could donate some of the money to a charity. It's just wrong time, wrong place, and I think they spoke up a little too soon. But we spoke about more of this in depth earlier this week on the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know if you're watching our YouTube comments or the comments on our stories. It's very interesting. A lot of people have a lot of opinions when it comes to Liam's death. A lot of it, though, people really believe that he was murdered. Have you been reading these comments, Adam?
There's a lot of conspiracies regarding this whole situation. And
so, like, people are saying, it's super sus about how number one, the hotel is responding to it. They're saying that it's super suspicious what the cops are saying, that everyone's being super shady about all the details surrounding his death. We had spoke earlier this week about there being alleged CCTV footage that this reporter down in Argentina saying that she has seen. She says that she can see him fainting on the balcony and then falling off, and that is why he was completely unconscious when he hit the ground. Other people are saying there is no way when you faint, you don't fall off the side of a balcony, you would collapse to the floor. They're saying that the way he fell, the amount of injuries that he had is not consistent. They're saying what he was wearing at the time seems like he was almost trying to get out of there. He had a hat on, had a backpack, so it seemed like, wait a second, was he trying to escape something? Like, what does this hotel employee have to say? I mean, so many conspiracy theories going around. I mean, I could literally read you 56 comments right now on our YouTube page saying they do not believe anything that the Argentinian police are saying. They don't believe the hotel. They don't even believe this journalist. So I'm very, very curious to see how all this pans out because his dad obviously has gone down there. So does he get the answers he wants?
Yeah.
Does he get true answers, or is this a cover up where something happened, too many drugs were supplied, and now they're like, shit, let's just make it look like he killed himself with an overdose versus we supplied him and now a huge superstar in the music community is gone.
Yeah. And I got to be honest, like a lot of conspiracies, they're possibilities. They're not so far off. I'm like, that's not true. I mean, they're very well.
Can I read one of the comments just because they kind of said exactly what a lot of people believe?
Sure.
So this woman, Allison, she said, look, it's also suspicious when you faint, your body just collapses down, your knees buckle and you fall in place, kind of slumped into a puddle of yourself in my experience. You do not fall over anything, but but onto your own feet, certainly not over a railing on a balcony designed specifically to prevent accidental falls. Unless he was teetering on the railing or already hanging over it or climbing it when he fainted, I just don't see how it's possible to just faint yet manage to fall up and over the railing of a balcony. It's been reported that he had his hat and backpack on too at the time. He was trying to escape the hotel room that people may have been guarding to contain him until cops got there, and therefore may have been trying to climb over the balcony, which he has admittedly done in the past. I just saw a video of this old Snapchat of him recounting when he did escape from the second balcony of a hotel when the security wouldn't let him out of his room. When he lost consciousness and then fell, I don't know, but there are so many things that haven't been adding up about this whole tragedy, and I'm the furthest thing from a conspiracy theorist. How on earth do you possibly faint up over a balcony railing when you're completely unconscious? Makes no sense. Also, the hotel at first claimed that there were no CCTV footage and it had mysteriously shut off 1 hour prior to the fall, and now all of a sudden they have footage of him fainting and falling, yet they also previously said he fell, then he jumped, now he fainted the fall. What is going on? The whole situation is just so tragic and heartbreaking. R.I.P. Liam. Anyway, so there you go. That's Allison's comment. I think that is one of the reasons people are so up in arms about what really happened, because of these little details of that just don't really make sense. Anyway, we can move on from this.
All right. Dax, number 6.
Sophie Turner detailing, really kind of just opening up about her divorce from Joe Jonas and saying, it's just really sad. And she's reflecting on her divorce 1 month after the pair came to a settlement. And so she sat down and really talked about the whole process with Harper's Bazaar. She says, I'm going through this legal process right now where I can't really say much, but it was incredibly sad. She goes, we had this beautiful relationship, so it was hard. And I think at the end of the day, she wants to be good with him because of the kids. You even if you dislike the person so much and you had this really crappy divorce, at the end of the day, you've got 2 small children who are looking at you as their role models, and they're looking at their parents that don't have that bias against the other person. They're just looking at mommy and daddy. And I think that's what she's realized is like, even though I have been very publicly vile towards him and he's been very vile towards her publicly, let's make this work, because they both acknowledge the other person is a good parent. At the end of the day, you may not like them, but they're a good parent. And so she also said that she is now back in England. She's returned. And she said I never felt that I was really myself when I wasn't in London. She wasn't with her friends. She wasn't with her family. She was away for 6 years. And she said when she got back, she was like, man, my friends missed engagements and pregnancies and all these things. And she said she sat down with one of her friends who said, I never got to touch your belly when you were pregnant. And she goes, we didn't have those key experiences with each other. So I think she's feeling a lot more normal. And I think maybe that's also why there's clarity in this in her life right now. Like, it's not about my dislike for Joe. It's about friendship, love, family, and children. So
great interview. I think I get it. It's a great perspective. I think people need to understand her side a little bit more. I think I get her side. Being in another country without your family or friends, that's tough. No matter how much money you have, who you're married to, it's a difficult situation and it changes you a little bit. So it's not just the stress of being with Joe. It's just the children, everything going on in your life. So I appreciate her doing this interview. I think it actually makes her a little bit, and I hate to say it, more likable now, because you kind of feel
they both became very unlikable during this whole situation because it was just so gross, and I think once you get past the nasty stage, then you can truly become like happy again. And I know she's dating now, so I think it gives you a different perspective on life.
Dax, number 5.
Number 5, Diddy getting sued all over the place. We talked a little bit about this on the Wednesday episode, but we need to bring it up obviously today because we're doing the Raw Rundown. He is now being sued on allegations that he assaulted a man when he was 10 years old and another man when he was 17 years old. This is back in the mid 2000s. Again, I repeat, he's currently in jail on allegations of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. So one of the men has come forward and sued Diddy, Diddy's house recordings, Combs Global, and Bad Boy companies. And then he said that when he was 10, back in 2005, his parents flew him to Los Angeles. They had a meeting with Diddy, and apparently the parents were not there. So the kid showed up to Diddy's hotel with some kind of escort, not like a sex escort, but like someone who would escort a child, and said that he was in the hotel room. He was dropped off by this escort or consultant to his parents that they had hired. And Diddy said, look, I'll make you a star, and wanted to know how badly he wanted. And then he alleges that someone else in the hotel room gave him a soda. He began to feel a little funny. And then he claims that maybe that drink was laced with drugs, GHB or ecstasy, and that he felt pretty weird, and that Combs allegedly forced him to perform oral sex and threatened to harm his parents if he told anyone. He lost consciousness and woke up feeling sore, and his anus and buttocks hurt super badly. So that was from one. The other person says that he was 17 years old, and this was back in 2008 when he was doing Making the Band. And this guy was actually a contestant on Making the Band, and that he is accusing Diddy of masturbating himself while groping the teen during a private one-on-one interview on the first day of auditions, and then alleges on the second day of auditions, Diddy forced him to perform oral sex on him and his bodyguard. And so anyway, he didn't make it through the competition. He got kicked off. But those are two of the new lawsuits being thrown
on. Diddy with more lawsuits.
All the Diddy stuff.
Yeah, just hearing what you said is just tough to listen to.
It's so
you throw that on all the other allegations against them, they start to sort of you don't even think about it anymore. It's just like, all right, you don't even. The story did well in clicks, but you don't even. I don't want to say necessarily care about their story. It's just like you can't tell all the stories apart. They just sort of blend in one that somebody was taking advantage of. But the crazy part about Diddy, Dex, you might saw the story that something happened with Ray J and his sons this past week at a Halloween party. Did you see that story?
Yeah, so there's been some issues between Ray J and Diddy's sons, and I know that they were actually close for a while, but TMZ put up a story that they kind of got into a little bit of a yelling argument, and it was potentially going to get even worse, like a full-on fight, before Chris Brown stepped in and separated everyone. So it seems like this party, it was Terra Electra's party, and this is the Unruly Agency Halloween bash that happened. So it sounds like, according to TMZ, Ray J had made his way out to the parking lot with his crew and Amber Rose and his manager, David Weintraub, who's also been a guest on this podcast. But he was confronted by Diddy's three sons. And the sources say that the siblings surrounded the singer as they were upset about some of the public comments Ray J had made about Diddy amidst all of his legal issues. And then it seems like things got heated. The group was getting into each other's faces, chest bumping. And another source claims that that they were really close to fighting when all of a sudden Chris Brown came out of nowhere because he witnessed everything going down from his car, rushed out to defuse the situation and kind of make everything better because he didn't want to see a fight. So anyway, it seems like that's what happened.
Do you think who put this story out? I would have to think it's Ray J's rep, Dave whatchamacallit, who's on our podcast. Weintraub's
be surprised
for press. Yeah, Weintraub is just kind of
Weintraub's smart when he knows how to get him, because his name's in that. So I wouldn't be surprised if
why would his name be in the story?
That out.
Yeah, and I think it was probably a little bit exaggerated, a little bit more than it was because it's Dave Weintraub's name involved. So I mean, he's playing the part. Any story that his name's involved, he put out the story because I'll be honest, he's nothing. He's just a guy, but he wants to kind of get his own reputation out there. So
good for him. I say good for him.
No, good for him.
Relevant in this industry.
He gets it, and he gets the appeal, and he probably goes to a site and say, listen, here's the deal. I'll give you the story, but you have to keep my name in the story. And they say, okay. So,
yep.
All right, Dax, number 4.
Let's get on to some happy news, Adam. Nina Dobrev and Shaun White are engaged. This was a big story that happened this week. Obviously, you know, Shaun White, Olympic snowboarder, the GOAT of snowboarding, and Vampire Diaries alum Nina Dobrev. They shared a bunch of photos on Instagram of him getting down on one knee and asking her to marry him. They've been together for a couple of years now. I remember they had met at a Tony Robbins event and then ended up hitting it off and dating throughout COVID. That's kind of really when I remember them taking their relationship kind of like public and spending a lot of time together. Was over COVID because they were kind of locked up. And I remember they've like redone her house. Anyway, they were at, do you know the name of the restaurant that they were at?
I don't know the name of the restaurant, but before you even get further, before you talk about more, Dex, do you know how they met was through me?
Because of Tony Robbins, right?
Yeah. So it was an event a couple of years ago. I know Nina a little bit, and I brought Nina to this Tony Robbins event, and she came with her family, and Shaun White was there, and I just knew when they first met, like Nina was into it, and they went to lunches together, and they kind of hit it off where they sat next to each other, and she was like really like all about this guy, and it was cute because she was with her family too. So the first time she sort of met him, it was with her family. So I'm sure he got to meet the family right away. And actually, they mentioned it. Wow, that they were both giving presentations. They weren't giving presentations. That's the one down Facebook. They weren't giving presentations. They were there as guests because they're both into it. And I think it's nice that they ended up together. It makes sense, and they do. Nina's really good on social media, so is Shaun. So happy they're together. But do you know the name of the restaurant or place?
I found it. It's called Oasis Celsius Vibe House.
I'm not familiar with it, to be honest with you.
I don't know what that is. But she just captioned it, or he captioned it. She said
while
yes.
Chatting to people I guess she teased it. I don't know if that's where I don't know where they got engaged, to be honest with you. But
I thought that was it. No? Chatting.
No, but
that was in April. She teased a possible engagement.
Gotcha. Okay,
gotcha. And then this is them announcing it. Okay, my bad. Sorry about that information. So I don't know where they got engaged, but good for them.
But based on the photo, that was not just a cheap just all the flowers that were there for the engagement.
He did this like whole elaborate proposal plan to make sure she was totally caught off guard.
Yeah.
And I guess they had told Vogue that he had his publicist, who we also know his publicist, send a fake invitation, who's also been a guest on our podcast, send a fake invitation to a CFDA/Vogue dinner with Anna Wintour. So he made this invitation look super legitimate. And then when she arrived, the only people present was obviously Shaun and the photographer. And he said all the right things, got down, and that was how he surprised her. I kind of love that.
I think it's a great idea.
Going to an Anna Wintour event. She's probably stoked, and she gets there, and you get engaged. That's pretty dope.
The only other thing is, was she a little bit like, this is awesome? I mean, come on, we were going to get engaged regardless, but this could have been a really cool
where's
thing for
Anna?
my career. Where's Anna? This is all great, but yeah. So at least Anna could made a
little appearance.
Anna make a cameo at least, saying congratulations. Who knows? But congratulations to Shaun and Nina. Much success. Dax, number 3 story.
Number 3 story, big story this week. Shawn Mendes saying he is still trying to figure out his sexuality, and it feels really scary. So, he's obviously put out this new song where he has mentioned sexuality. The song is called The Mountain, and he then was singing it at a recent concert at Red Rocks in Colorado. During his performance at Red Rocks, he then ends up stopping down, talking to the crowd and saying, he goes, "Some days I have a change of heart. You can say what you need to say." He says, "You can say I'm too young. You can say I'm too old. You can say that I like girls or boys, whatever fits your mold." I said it earlier this week, Adam. I'm going to say it again. This is fantastic for business. You got everyone interested in your life, your sexuality. You are not saying anything more than almost teasing people. And I think you double your fan base with comments like this. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, you just got to be really comfortable with your sexuality, with yourself. But it's, listen, the guy's promoting new songs, a new album right now, trying to get his name back out there. It broadens his audience a little bit.
The ambiguity of the whole thing.
Exactly.
is it's a beautiful thing. And there was photos of him out hugging.
What part's beautiful? Is it the business of it or just like him being comfortable?
I think him being honest, I think is great. It's just him being so free to talk, I think is great. I think the beautiful part about not saying anything while saying stuff at the same time is good. I don't know. I think it's I don't know. It just feels like a good business move and a good career move and a good personal move for him.
Yeah, but Dax, weirdly enough, and again, this might be a controversial opinion in this, but I feel like some ways the media, the public, the fans were almost like forcing him to A, come out with his sexuality, and B, like be gay or be straight. Like, like maybe the guy's like, I'm just a feminine guy. Like I embrace my feminine side through my music, but like, oh, because you do that, you must like men. You could be gay or bisexual. Like, who cares? It's just sort of weird. Like, he doesn't need to address it. Even if he
doesn't need to at all.
No,
he doesn't
that's
need
the crazy part. It's like, who cares? I don't care. It's not making me, like, who cares? But again, I think probably for us, we like to like it.
About being a celebrity is you're like, damn, keep in mind, he's been famous for so long, and he became famous when he was at such a young age. He doesn't even know who he was. You know what I'm saying? And so he's obviously dated some very famous women. But if he's trying to figure himself out, let him figure himself out. And if he wants to date women, date women. If he wants to date guys, like, do your thing. I just couldn't imagine the pressure.
You know what's so cool? Here's the one thing I like about this guy, Shawn Mendes. So a friend of mine was working for this product that's sort of like expensive product. And they said to him, he DM'd the account saying, hey, he had some questions regarding the product and stuff. And they DM back saying, hey, listen, we got the product and like, we'd love to give you one if you could post on your social. And he's like, listen, I have no problem paying. I totally understand it, but I just don't do stuff like that. I have no problem paying for it at full price. I'm just a fan of the product and I respect that because in today's day and age, we're in that celebrity world where they get stuff for free all the time. And this guy was just like, had a question regarding the product, DM the account. They said, hey, we want to give you free for a post. And he's like, dude, I totally understand you asking. I just don't do that stuff. I have no problem paying. And like, it was not even looking for a discount, like just like everyone else. So I like Shawn Mendes, good guy, good to the fans. Yeah, cool and all.
Great to the fans, by the way. Great. I've covered numerous stories of him. He'll arrive to the airport and his fans will stand in a single file line and he will stop and he will take a photo with all 150 of them before he goes on. It's wild.
Yeah. Props to him. Nice guy, Shawn Mendes. We root for you. Cool dude. Dax, the number 2 story.
Channing Tatum and Zoe Kravitz splitting after 3 years together. They called off their engagement. This has been a massive story. They have been, like I said, dating for 3 years, and it seemed like it was going really well. I mean, one of the last posts on his Instagram is her passed out, sleeping on his lap, and he's shirtless, and it looks like a really cute kind of like coupley photo. Flash forward to today, and now they're calling off their engagement, and reps for both of them have not responded to requests for comment. And I don't know what's happening. I don't know why suddenly their relationship ended, but it seemed like it was good. You have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I thought they looked happy together. They always seemed like very affectionate. They said great comments about each other. So I think we were just surprised by this. It wasn't like, I felt like just the other day, we kind of saw them together. And then for them to just say, hey, we're not going to be together was just caught people off guard. Nice couple. But I think the surprising part was Jenna Dewan, her fiance, Steve, who she has a baby, put a message on his social media, on his Instagram stories going, ha, 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 ha.
Well, keep in mind, Jenna and Channing are still going through a very contentious divorce filing that they have not officially settled because a lot of the money from the Magic Mike franchise is kind of up in question of, was this community property from when they were together? Because Jenna is saying there was a lot of lucrative earnings that were not included into this divorce. And they're saying, what the hell? This should be community property. He did Magic Mike when we were together, but then there was movie number 2, movie number 3. There's the Vegas show. There's a TV show, all based on Magic Mike. And because Channing has such a big stake in the Magic Mike franchise, that would be a ton of money that could potentially be hers as well. And they have not figured it out. So that's the backstory. That is still an ongoing legal battle 6 years later. But like you said, her new fiance, Steve Kazi, put up a post on his stories, his Instagram stories on Wednesday, right when this Channing and Zoe story broke. And like you said, it's like him laughing. And he then kind of responded to, he said, look, this is like a guy can't laugh about a houseplant on TikTok without the world like going crazy. He is claiming that the laughing was about how he's a terrible plant dad, and he's killed all the plants in his home, and even showed one sitting next to a water filter, like, you're so close to water, but you didn't get any. So that was his response, that it had nothing to do with Channing and Zoe's breakup, that it was more about his own life.
I don't know. Bad timing, very weird. I think it's just bad PR. I think he's just trying to cover himself, and Jenna's yelling at him. And I think, to be honest, I don't know Steve, but I think timing, he was very well aware of what people kind of perceived as his message.
Yeah.
I think it was in poor taste, and I don't believe it was over a houseplant. That's just my opinion. I mean, there's controversy around his Instagram story that he posted, but he knew what was going on, and it is what it is. Dax, the number one story of the week.
Number one story, Gisele Bündchen is pregnant with baby number 3, and it's with her boyfriend, Joaquim Valente, the jiu-jitsu coach that, if you remember, for a long time, she denied that they were even together. And then they finally were like, okay, we're together, and, we're figuring this out. Apparently, he knocked her up. She's pregnant, and looking forward to baby number 3. I can tell you that Tom Brady was notified before this information went public. She obviously talked to the kids. She knew the kids would talk to Tom, so she hit him up and said, hey, I just want to be respectful, let you know that this information will be coming out. So I guess he's known for quite some time, a couple months now, before the world got to know, which I think is a nice thing to do for the father of your children. I laugh about how for so long they denied this relationship. If you remember, they finally went public in like June of 2023, and we're like, okay, we are dating. And if you remember, at the time, a source close to Tom disputed the timeline to TMZ, and he said they should add 2021 after June, which would mean that she cheated on Tom with this guy, is really what they were saying. But there's no basis behind that at this point. I think Tom has even apologized for that getting out there. So kind of interesting, but good for her. Good for her. He's a big in the jiu-jitsu world, has a place down in Miami. He's from Brazil himself, so I can see why they have stuff in common.
Yeah, I mean, Dax, you say he's big in the jiu-jitsu world. I mean, the guy wasn't a UFC fighter. He just owns a self-defense and jiu-jitsu karate camp in Miami. So, I mean, this guy's 35 years old. Gisele, who's 44, I believe. I mean, good on her that she's still able, and I should say good on her, but, it's sort of like, who knew if they were trying to have a baby, or it was a surprise to them. I mean, but I got to imagine Gisele and this guy now are together officially, and they're not married. They're not engaged. Is this guy putting any money to help out with the baby, or is Giselle's like, no, I got this. Don't worry about it. No, I'll cover all the costs. I'm going to buy the baby clothes. Don't worry about this. How does that?
I know.
It's such a dynamic, unique relationship, because you want to help out, but can you actually really help out for Gisele? I mean, I don't know, Dex, I'm sure when you had your kids, a lot of your clothes were hand-me-downs from other people. They gave you a bunch of stuff. You're like, wow, why not?
Of course.
Giselle's probably going to get all new baby clothes, and this guy's going to be like, man, I have to pay for all new stuff.
I always wonder about that dynamic when you have someone who is so successful, so rich. I mean, Gisele was the highest paid model on the planet for years and years and years and years. By the way, now it makes sense why she wasn't at the Victoria's Secret fashion show the other day, because she was pregnant. But she was the highest paid fashion model on the planet. It was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So how does that work when you've got this guy who I'm going to assume is not worth millions of dollars, and is, because he was traveling around the world essentially as a coach for her kids and then a coach for her. So I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I don't know how it works. I do think it's nice that Gisele let Tom know in advance, but not just like 2 days before when it went public. Like, I think you got to give time for it to a little bit settle a little bit. I don't want to say grieve, but like just to like process what's going on, especially for the kid's sake, for his own sanity. The story blew up. I think people were so surprised. Like you said, they kept this relationship, I want to say hidden, but they just denied it for so long and then eventually addressed it.
One other thing that I do need to bring up is that, and this has nothing to do with Gisele, but one other story that broke, Diddy, you remember how he accused the feds of releasing that video of Cassie getting beat up in the hotel?
Yeah.
The feds are saying, we didn't do it. They're saying, we did not release this video. A lot of people had access to this video, that they actually downloaded it from, I want to say whoever broke this originally, they went and I think it was CNN who broke the video, that they went and downloaded it from CNN's site, and that's how they got their hands on it, but they did not release it, which continues the mystery of where did it come from then, because Diddy's people strongly believe that it was not Cassie who released the video, that it was in fact the federal government to make him look bad, because they had raided his houses, they had grabbed a bunch of stuff, and they are claiming that they had access to the tape. And Fed say, nope, lots of people had access, not us. I don't know.
Do you think that's
mystery continues.
Do you think that's bad on their lawyers to accuse someone without any proper cause? Like, like that's not for them who are trying to.
Maybe they know more than we do, and maybe they still stand behind that statement.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that is our raw rundown, the top 10 stories of the week. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on Red Coral Universe, shout out to Red Coral Universe. Really cool way to watch the video stream of our podcast. Thank you if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and leave a few kind words on the bottom. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram. We're on it all. We have a private Facebook group called Off the Record. You guys should be in it because it's a really fun community. You guys can ask us questions. You guys can talk to us. We talk to you. It's a very, very close niche, but it works out pretty cool. Follow me at Adam Glyn. Follow Dax Holt at Dax Holt, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Guys, hope you liked that video. We got a lot more where that came from.
Hit that bell, like, subscribe, share with a friend. The best you can do to support us is really doing that. And we really need the money because we need hair gel.